y'all. It's Halloween, okay? And I can't just do any regular book talk on Halloween. No. This week's theme is macabre. Now, I know this might be a difficult term for you elementary kids, but macabre is one of my favorite words. And it's because of this word that it makes Halloween so much more fun. Macabre means that it is disturbingly horrifying, okay? In some cases, it can be terrifying, and it's because of death or injury. It focuses on that, and it's dark, and it's ugly. So let's just cut to the chase. We're gonna have a waiver right here. If you don't like things that are spooky, scary, a little creepy, a little gross, you don't need to pay attention. Like, you just press pause, you press stop, you walk away, because these books are not for you. But if you like creepy things, I'm talking about like pictures of dead bodies from 2,000 years ago that have been mummified, or you want to scare your little brothers or sisters with scary stuff to tell in the dark, then you stay focused and stay tuned, because I've got 5 great books for you this Halloween season. The first book is probably one of the easier books. It is fiction, and it's a classic, okay? This is coming out of the Wallace vault. My brothers and sisters, we used to scare each other so badly at night we couldn't go to sleep with this piece. It is fiction. It's called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It was published in 1981. It kind of gives you a little bit of insight into how old Miss Wallace is, by HarperCollins. It was written by Alvin Schwartz, but I also want to add the pictures in this piece. Can you see how scary this guy is? The drawings were from Stephen Gamble, and every single picture in here is incredibly macabre as well. Can you see all the stringy bits and pieces? It's really nasty. Now, I'm not going to give too much away, but my favorite story is one of the first ones, and it's called The Big Toe, okay? A kid finds a big toe in a field, and he plucks it from a dead body, and he brings it home for his mom to cook, and they eat it, okay? This is macabre. And the guy rises from the grave, and he's like, "Where's my big toe?" Meanwhile, the family's asleep, having like gorged themselves on this incredibly large dead big toe, and they have no idea. Can you see the little toe? Can you see his toe right there? They ate that, okay? This book's gross. It's fantastic. And at the end of this whole chapter, these stories are called stories because you're supposed to tell them in the dark to your friends. Like, if you're having a sleepover, you pull this book out and you tell them a story, you're like popular forever because you just scared everybody in your class. They're gonna scream, they're gonna freak out. We've got dead corpses. This book has ghosts. This book is amazing, and it never goes away. I mean, this book is 20 plus years old, and it's still being sold. I saw it at Walmart the other day. You need to check it out. Okay, book number 2 gets even better than the first one. This is called The Black Death by Tracy Hahn. It was published in 2002 by Chelsea House Publishers. Now, this is nonfiction, and when you're dealing with macabre, nonfiction is scarier than fiction because this really happened, okay? The Black Death was a plague that wiped out thousands of people, 65,000 people in Florence alone, during the Middle Ages. And a lot of people don't know that it was transmitted by a flea, okay? But you can find all that information out in this book. In fact, they even have really cool pictures. I don't know if you can see this. The flea, this is a microscopic image of a flea embedded in rat fur, okay? And that's how the disease spread Now, you know what I learned in this book? There were actually 3 different strands of the disease. Okay, there was the most famous, which is the bubonic strain. And look, I have my makeup with me so you guys can see how it happens. It was characterized by this red, rosy bit on the arm that appeared, and it you know, seemingly random. But then within 3 to 5 days, if you contracted the bubonic plague, you were dead immediately. In the beginning, and this is all in this book. In the beginning, they used to build coffins for the people, really respectful, and they would bury their dead. Well, by the time that it was ravaging the continent, they just started digging these mass graves and throwing people in. Now, that's the bubonic form, right? The flea from the rat, and it would bite people. There was also the septicemic form, and there was also the pneumonic plague, which was transmitted from coughing. So you didn't even need to get bit by the flea to get this disease. And you're talking about some people went to bed feeling fine, and then the next morning they didn't wake up. Okay, now you might be wondering why I have all my feathers. I have a costume that I like to wear at Halloween. I'm the Raven from Edgar Allan Poe. Nevermore. But what I learned in this book is that some physicians, can you see? Can you see? They used to wear these beak-like, I don't want to say costume, medical outfits. They would fill them with vinegar so that they wouldn't smell the death everywhere. Y'all, this book is a gem if you want to hear more about the Black Plague. Okay, this next book is called Near-Death Experiences. It's written by Adam Stone and published in 2011 by Bellwether Media Incorporated. It is part of a series of books called The Unexplained. If you are interested in the Bermuda Triangle, Bigfoot, ESP, ghosts, haunted houses, Loch Ness monsters, they do it all. Now this one I added because it's all about near-death experiences. Now, they do explain that they're called NDEs, and certain people have experienced these kind of transcendental moments, like they're going beyond the mortal realm. It is a short book, so if you ever wonder like what people experience when they die, maybe on like the operating table, and they are brought back, then this book is for you. It is set up not so scary. This is not a so scary book, but it does go through, maybe if you want to know like what are some things, like some people experience tunnel vision, some people see lights, some people have dead ones that come and talk to them. All of it's discussed in this book.
Go.
Okay. Gonna get worse, kids. So this is for the truly daring, okay? The next 2 books are part of a series called Digging Up the Dead. Now, they are made for children, okay? So if you're a parent watching, it's for a kid. The first book is called Death Rituals. Goes through 5 different groups. You've got the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Egyptians, the Chinese, and some Hindu death rituals. I can't even lie. Some of these freaked me out, okay? One of the first ones is the Mayans. They used to sacrifice people just so they can be buried with others. Can you imagine that? Like, you have no reason to die except that they want to bury you with someone else who's already dead, and so they're going to kill you for that. The Aztecs, when they uncovered some of the burial sites, they found thousands of bodies that had hands tied, beheaded. The Egyptians, I didn't know this until like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago when I was reading this book, pulled their brains out through their nose. Like a hook went up in their nose, scrabbled their brains, and then pulled it out. You can't get much more macabre than this, okay? Until you read this book, Preserving the Dead. Okay, warning, there are dead people in this book, okay? Honest to God, mummies. I mean, here's one of them. This is an easy one to look at, okay? And it's not just the Egyptians, which I really liked about this book. It's not just them. Oh, I'm sorry. It's called Preserving the Dead, written by Ryan Nagelhood, okay? And it was published by the same company, Gareth Stevens, in 2015, so the same time as this other book. But y'all, kids, if you've got like a sense of adventure, look, I'll just give you one little one. Do you see this guy? He's 2,000 years old. Him right there. He was buried in peat moss and it preserved his skin. And he was even found with a rope around his neck. He was murdered. That's the kind of information that you will find in this book, okay? So look, all in all, kids, I hope you have some happy reading this Halloween season. It can't get much better than this. It really can't. Happy reading.